Linear probabilistic modeling is a tool that takes a dependent and independent variable and uses those variables to predict outcomes based on the data gathered. The formula looks very similar to something we have all seen before. Y equals mx plus b. We learned that in 8th grade, plus a sigma variable. What the sigma variable does is it accounts for random variables and variance, errors that may occur. That's why you see some of the dots above and some of the dots below the regression line. That's what the sigma does. It moves them up and down because it's not always the points aren't always going to be perfectly allotted with the regression line. A good example for using linear regression would be, let's say UCF wants students to get the highest average final grades possible for Calc 1. So they might do some tests. They might take the time the final is scheduled as their x variable, their independent variable, and then the dependent variable would be the average final grade. So one semester UCF schedules all the Calc 1 finals at 7 a.m., the next semester at 10 a.m., then 12 a.m., so forth and so on. And they can use that data to see where the average where students are receiving the highest average test final, and it could be used for a multitude of things. That's just one example. However, linear regression is not perfect. It does have its faults. It relies on this thing called the Gauss-Markov theorem, which basically states that um, the that most linear regression models have equal variance. That means that a lot of the errors are going to be the same as from distance above or below the line. They should be relatively close to each other or the same, but that just isn't true. A lot of linear regression models can have different variances. They're not always going to be equal. There's a bunch of different factors that is not easy to account for. However, this does not mean that the linear regression model is bad per se. It's just you should definitely need to take into account that it's not 100% perfect. It has its faults. However, I still think it is a very good tool to use, especially when dealing with simple things like average test grades or temperature, stuff that it can be easily monitored and recorded and you can see straight results. But you should always keep in the back of your mind that it's not a perfect tool and that there could be error. Yep, thank you.